welcome to the Newshour Agenda. Today, ladies and gentlemen, it's just 3 days ahead of the first phase of polling of the general elections 2024. Amongst the major states going to polls in phase 1 are Assam, Bihar, Madhya Pradesh, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, Tamil Nadu and Uttarakhand. The Times Now, along with ETG, has surveyed these regions to find out the mood of the nation and what are the key issues that will be pivotal in these elections. We've surveyed across the length and breadth of the nation to get you insights into what will be swaying the voters in this poll season. We've carried out a survey based on unemployment, inflation, nationalism, Hindutva, polarization. We've also asked about the issues of corruption and development for the voters. How important are they? But before we reveal these numbers to you, it's imperative to look at the key contests in this poll season as well. Here are some of the key battlegrounds in this festival of democracy. And we're not talking about the big guns. We're talking about the other interesting contests that are taking place. Let's quickly take a look at some of these aspects of the key contests. The first one that we're looking at is the Azamgarh contest. Dinesh Lal Yadav, or Nirawa, a popular actor over there, he is in fact the sitting MP and is taking on Dharmendra Yadav of the Samajwadi Party. Akhilesh Yadav's cousin, a three-term MP, has lost the 2019 polls from Badaयूं. It's a neck-to-neck fight that's taking place in Azamgarh as per the Times Now-ETG survey. Let's quickly take this across to the next contest that we're talking about. If you can quickly bring that frame up. We're talking about Amethi. Now, this is going to be an interesting contest simply because while Smriti Irani is projected as leading at the moment, there are sources within the Congress who are indicating that Rahul Gandhi perhaps could be propped up here once the polling in Wayanad is completed. And that's why this is a very interesting seat to look at as well. In 2019, of course, Smriti breached the seat that was once considered to be a Gandhi family bastion. Let's move on to the next particular seat that we're talking about. In Meerut, it is Arun Goel of the BJP who's projected to be leading as compared to the BSP's Devrat Tyagi as well as the SP's Sunita Pradhan Verma. He, of course, has played Lord Ram in Ramanand Sagar's Ramayana in 86 to 88. And therefore, one of the factors certainly that could be at play here as far as his being projected as leading from here. The next seat that we're talking about is Ghazipur. Very, very interesting to see. It's Afzal Ansari, the brother of the gangster Mukhtar Ansari, who died recently, a two-time MP, five-time MLA from Uttar Pradesh. And he, of course, is taking on the BJP's Parasnath Rai, strong ties with the RSS that he has, and close associate of Jammu and Kashmir, LG Manoj Sinha. This is being seen as a battleground seat. In a sense, this means that there is a close contest taking place over here in Ghazipur as well. Moving on to the next seat that we're talking about. This is Mainpuri. The contest over here is triangular. Dimple Yadav, no surprises there, projected as leading. It is, of course, she's the wife of SP Chief Akhilesh Yadav and daughter-in-law of former CM and SP Supremo Mulayam Singh Yadav. The BSP's Shiv Prasad Yadav and the BJP's Jaiveer Singh in the fray over here at Mainpuri. Let's take this across to the next seat that we're looking at. Now, this is another interesting seat of Northeast Delhi. You have Manoj Tiwari, who's leading. But the challenger here is Kanhaiya Kumar of the Congress. After being associated with left parties, this time round, of course, is in the fray from Northeast Delhi and is a Congress representative, Congress candidate over here. Very important because the Purvanchali vote has a huge sway in Northeast Delhi, and that's principally seen as one of the reasons for Manoj Tiwari's victory. Will Kanhaiya Kumar, with his oratory skills, be able to give a challenge to Manoj Tiwari? That's something that we need to watch out for. Moving on to the next seat. It's the New Delhi seat where Basuri Swaraj is leading, is what we are told. Of course, the daughter of Sushma Swaraj, a very popular television face as well as a lawyer. Basuri Swaraj said to be leading in this particular seat as well. Of course, contest there coming in from the India Alliance as well. Let's move on to the next seat that we're talking about over here. The next seat is Bharuch. This has been a stronghold of Ahmed Patel in Gujarat. Over here, what's very, very interesting to see is that the AAP candidate, Chaitar Wasawa, is in a neck-to-neck context with Mansukh Bhai D. Wasawa, who is the BJP candidate. Congress nowhere in the picture over here. Of course, very famously, we had seen Mumtaz Patel and others talk about how they wanted to contest but were not given a ticket. It is ultimately Aam Aadmi Party who was given the ticket from the India Alliance, but it's set to be a neck-to-neck fight as far as our survey is concerned. Let's move on to another interesting contest. It is, of course, Chhindwara, where there is a close fight, while Nakul Nath perhaps would have the edge. edge, we are told at this point of time. He is, of course, a sitting MP, and his father Kamalnath has represented Chhindwara on multiple occasions. It is a close fight that we're seeing in Chhindwara, is what we are told. The next seat that we're talking about at this point of time is Nagaur in Rajasthan. Now, interesting to see that Hanuman Beniwal, who's seen, of course, as a one-man army, his party, the RLP, of course, has had presence in the Lok Sabha, and he is taking on Jyoti Mirda, another significant face who is, of course, switched over from the Congress to the BJP. It's set to be a close fight in this particular seat as well. So interesting to see what really the outcome there would be. The next seat we're talking about is Kota, where the current Speaker of the Lok Sabha, Om Birla of the BJP, it's being seen as a battleground seat because he's going to be taking on Prahlad Gunjal of the Congress. Will be interesting to see if the Congress is able to unseat Om Birla, who's already four-time member of Parliament from Kota. Moving on to the next seat that we're talking about, it's Diamond Harbour. Here the projected fight is between Abhishek Banerjee of the TMC, who's of course a two-time MP, nephew of West Bengal CM Mamata Banerjee. He's taking on Abhijit Bobby of the BJP, who lost the 2009-2014 elections. He's a former South 24 Parganas district president of the BJP. So interesting fight as well over there that is being seen, but Abhishek Banerjee seen to be having the edge over there as well. Let's move on to the next seat that we're talking about. This is the Kurukshetra contest, where in fact Sushil Kumar Gupta of the Aam Aadmi Party is trailing as compared to Naveen Jindal of the BJP, another congressman who switched over to the Bharatiya Janata Party, industrialist as well in his own right, and he is seen as leading in the Kurukshetra contest as well. Move on to the next seat that we're talking about. It's Puri. Sambit Patra of the BJP. Remember, he had narrowly lost the election in the last Lok Sabha polls. This time around, Sambit Patra is leading as compared to Sujit Mahapatra of the Congress party. That's the projection that our Times Now-ETG Survey is in fact bringing out at this point of time. Let's move on to the next seat that we're talking about. Moving to Karnataka now. Haveri is the seat. Basavaraj Bommai, former chief minister, in the fray in the Lok Sabha elections, and he's taking on Anand Swami Gadde Varmat from the Congress party. At this point of time, Basavaraj Bommai is said to be in the lead as far as this contest is concerned. Moving on to another seat from Karnataka. This is Bangalore South. Tejasvi Surya of the BJP is the incumbent MP. Remember that this is a seat that has been held for the past 2 decades before this by leaders of the BJP. In fact, Anant Kumar was the member of parliament from Bangalore South, former union minister. He has defeated BK Hariprasad in the last Lok Sabha election and is hoping to repeat that success against Soumya Reddy of the Congress, daughter of the Transport Minister Ramlinga Reddy, has won the Jayanagar Assembly polls, lost during the recounting. So it could be a close contest because this Jayanagar Assembly segment is within the Bangalore South seat as well. Let's move on to another very interesting contest that we are seeing. This is Bengaluru Rural, where DK Suresh, the younger brother of Karnataka Deputy CM DK Shivkumar, is in contest with C.N. Manjunath of the BJP. This is being seen as a close fight, but the Congress has an edge over here is what our survey says. So it will be interesting to see whether there's a change or not in this particular segment. Another key fight that we're talking about from Karnataka as well. It's the Mandya seat. Former Chief Minister H.D. Kumaraswamy is projected as leading against Venkat Ramegowda of the Congress party. Remember, it's in the Vokkaliga heartland, of course, JDS and H.D. Kumaraswamy and his father H.D. Gowda seen as Vokkaliga leaders, and therefore very interesting to see how this particular battle plays out, because this time around the BJP would want the JDS to do well and would hope that some amount of those Vokkaliga votes are transferred to the BJP as well if it has to repeat its performance in Karnataka, where, mind you, the BJP has done fairly well in the last 3 Lok Sabha polls as well. Move on to the next seat that we're talking about. This is the Pathanamthitta seat in Kerala, where it's a 3-way fight between the former finance minister of the LDF. It is Thomas Isaac who is in contest against the sitting MP Anto Antony of the Congress party, and now the challenger coming in is Anil Antony of the BJP. At this point of time, the BJP is said to be trailing, and that of course is the information that we have at this point of time. Anto Antony is said to be having the edge over here. Remains to be seen really on the 4th of June what actually takes place on ground. Very interesting contest there as well. The other contest that we've been talking about, of course, the big ticket fight between Annamalai of the BJP, A.I.N.D.I.A, Singay Ramachandran and Ganapati Rajkumar of the DMK. Over here, we are seeing a projection as a close contest. Of course, Annamalai, as per certain surveys, is said to be ahead. There are others, of course, who would believe otherwise. But remember that this is one seat where the BJP has won in the past and therefore would hope that it would be successful this time around. The only difference is that earlier they have been in alliance with A.I.N.D.I.A, and that's not the case this time around. Let's move on to another important seat. This is from Purnia, where Pappu Yadav, who joined the Congress and later filed his nomination as an independent candidate, is in contest against Santosh Kumar Kushwaha. He is said to be trailing as compared to Santosh Kumar Kushwaha of the JDU. Interesting contest over there as well that we're looking at. Move on to yet another seat that we're looking at. This is Hajipur, where Chirag Paswan, of course, is said to be leading. He has, of course, against him from the RJD, Shiv Chandra Ram. And that's the contest that we're looking at. Chirag Paswan managing to hold his own as far as his party is concerned, despite several political setbacks, and now projected to win in this particular seat. Can he get more seats? Will he be a key member of the N.D.I.A alliance? Of course, he has tied up with the BJP, but what really will that mean for his political fortunes is a big question indeed. Let's move on to another very important. All right, this is as far as the seat projections are concerned. We will now move on to the important points that we are looking at in terms of the magical numbers. What are the key issues in this Lok Sabha election is a question. I will decode for you which issue has struck the chord with the voters. Is it finally time to reveal the numbers to you, that which part of the nation holds which issue pivotal? The percentage on your screens now that you'll be looking at, we'll be looking at the various issues that are key as far as the citizens of India are concerned. There is unemployment over here. Northern India, 20% of the voters think it's a very key issue. In Western India, that number comes down a little more to 16. In Eastern, it's at 5%. Southern India at 8% and Northeastern India 8%. This is very important because in the past, the BJP has done extremely well in North India. Is this an issue that could perhaps hurt the fortunes of the BJP is a question. And if you look at the gender divide, for men, it's a bigger concern as 12%, for women at 11% as well. Let's look at the other important issue of inflation. It's at 25%. So 1 in 4 persons surveyed in Northern India has said it's a key issue of concern. In Western India, 22%. In Eastern India, 22%. In Southern India, 21%. And in Northeastern India as well, 24%. When you compare men to women, women certainly more concerned about this. It appears from the survey, 26% of women surveyed says that this is an important issue. For men, it's a considerably less number at 19%, but certainly very significant at the same time. So two very, very important issues. And let me quickly open this up and take this to our guests as far as these issues are concerned and start because we're going to go one by one through all of these issues. And introducing our guests of the panel, we have Dr. Syed Zafar Islam, National Spokesperson of the BJP. Shekhar Iyer is a senior journalist joining us. Karan Verma, author, is with us. We also have with us Sanjay Jha, who's an author. Ghanshyam Tiwari, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party. Selam Dharnidharan, spokesperson of the DMK. Advocate Adil Hassan is spokesperson of the AIMIM. Let me start with you. Ghanshyam Tiwari, it's an issue that various opposition parties have been talking about for some time now, and it appears that yes, it is an issue certainly that is on the minds of voters, because this is the maximum response that we've received amongst the various issues that we've put out in terms of what's playing around in the minds of voters. But when they go and cast their ballot, is this actually going to count, or will it be more emotive issues? Ghanshyam.
Good evening, Madhav, to you, my fellow co-panelists and the viewers. Two things are important for the voter. One is that survey after survey, articles after articles have exposed how employment in India is a fault line. And also, repeatedly, the Prime Minister has not addressed it. So the fact that BJP is blind to the massive unemployment that is forcing youth in India to become desperate is a question mark on BJP's Ab Ki Baar 400 Par. And the same is the story with inflation. A party that used to say that bahut hui petrol diesel ki maar, bahut hui gas cylinder ki maar, has pushed the prices above the edge. And as the global markets are heating up, those are not going to come down. It is absolutely certain that with its current policies, BJP will push the cylinder prices to near 2,000 and petrol diesel prices to 200 if they get the power back. So it is for BJP to ponder. As far as the various contests, I must say that I must congratulate you for a fast-paced count and analysis of seats across the country.
I think the election is becoming every day more and more tough for BJP. They peaked too soon, and as the temperature soared, voters are thinking about bread and butter issues, the reality that their lives is, rather than the fake issues that the Prime Minister is harping about.
Syed Zafar Islam, would you like to respond to that? He says that enough concern is not given by the BJP on the issues such as unemployment and inflation, and there needs to be more attention here. This is going to make a difference in this poll, is what he says. Please respond to that.
I think Ghanshyam Tiwari should do a back testing of how the inflation was during between 2004 to 2014 during UPA time. The inflation was in double digit. The economy was in bad shape, and all the macroeconomic parameter was terrible. Neither the job creation was there, and everything was going down the drain. Not let me tell you a few things. I think the people of India understand how India has become a powerful nation. The people of this great country feels very confident of their own country, because there is a leadership who actually does things to ensure that everyone feels secure and sound and secure. What is important for everyone to realize that between 2004 to 2014, the size of economy as well as the position of Indian economy on the global map we are ranked at 11th position. From 2004 to 2014, it remained at 11th position, but from a strong economy to a fragile economy, fraud and fraudsters were involved in a lot of scams. This was the impression, and policy paralysis, something which was the impression the global community had about India. From 2014 to 2024, it's a sound economy, it's a bright spot, the country is strong. From a weak country to a very powerful, emerged as a very powerful nation, a very powerful leader, and we are navigating from 11th position, we now at 5th position, and navigating towards the third largest economy in the world.
Right.
Whenever the economy booms, obviously the job will be created. So I think people are trying to mislead the people. Enough number of jobs has been created, and one has to see the APF number, one has to see the formal, I'm talking about only the informal economy number of jobs which has been created. Neither inflation is concerned nor the job is concerned. These are all manufactured by the opposition parties, but there is absolutely no receptiveness as far as the people of this country is concerned. Okay. Because they know there is a government who has committed to provide people who had no shelter, they have provided shelter. Because people who had no electricity connection, they have been provided electricity connection.
Okay.
People who had no tap water, clean tap water, they have been provided clean tap water. People had no gas connection, they have been given gas connection. We have done n number of things which we have promised by
that's development. We are going to discuss development separately, Syed Zafar Islam. It's the third subject that we're taking up. But on this issue of employment and inflation, let me quickly bring in Sanjay Jha. I see many hands going up as well. Sanjay Jha, question to you over here is, it's all just a projection by the opposition. It's not rooted in fact. The fact is that India has become the third largest economy, and that couldn't have happened without adequate job creation. Please respond to Syed Zafar Islam.
Madhav, good evening. You know, there is a reason why Prime Minister Narendra Modi is trying to polarize this election. When he calls the Congress manifesto a Muslim League, you realize there is something deeply disturbing which has rattled him. And he's a very sharp politician. And you know exactly what your survey says, Madhav, is exactly what the Lok Niti CDS survey said. If you look at the CSDS survey, it tells you that the top 4 issues bothering the voters in India are unemployment, price rise, especially with food inflation, development, which has not happened, corruption. And let's not even talk about electoral bonds. The world knows it's the mother of all scams. And then you have the role of Hindutva and the Ram temple. The Ram temple occupies in the percentages 8% and Hindutva 2%. You know, this news is very, shall we say, disconcerting for the right-wing ecosystem that has believed that the BJP will win this election willy-nilly, because once you polarize and 80% of the country is the majority community of Hindus, then, you know, even if you win 40% of that, you're bound to get 200 seats. Unfortunately, Madhav, the truth is, as your survey says, And as the Lok Niti survey says, the two that I would respect at this point of time, I think Zafar is clearly barking up the wrong tree. He's beginning to say that your survey is wrong. He's beginning to say the Lok Niti survey is wrong, which means the BJP's arrogance is now reaching to such an extent that they are saying that if the public feels this way, the public is wrong. Now that to me is extreme hubris, and I think is coming to bite them. I can give you some data that is out there in the public domain. The truth is 55% of the people believe corruption has gone up. Look at the last data, Madhav, in the number of households in debt. 40% of GDP, the number of households are in debt. Can you imagine that? People have actually now don't have the income. They are high on EMIs, they are high on credit card dues and in personal loans and house loans and car loans. So clearly the middle class has suffered. The farmers are out on the street. The young don't have employment. The crony capitalists have gained. That, of course, we all know.
Subject, that's also explained by some as a possibility of the higher purchasing power of the Indian now and the fact that they can confidently take those loans. That's also been an explanation coming in to what you just said.
Madhav, let me tell you, the reason why the BJP is on the back foot with every passing day is because, as my friend Ghanshyam rightly pointed out, you are seeing India Shining Part 2 playing out. And on June 4th, kursi ke peti bandh lijiye, mausam kharab hone wala hai BJP.
Okay, since that's a pointed question for BJP, I see other hands going up as well. But Syed Zafar Islam, is this India Shining Part 2? And I just want to add a small fact. This is the India Employment Report 2024, not published by anyone in the opposition. It's the International Labour Organization and the Institute of Human Development, which says that 83% of the jobless population of India are youth. They've also underscored a concerning trend where proportion of educated young people possessing at least secondary education amongst total unemployed youth has doubled from 35.2% in 2000 to 65.7% in 2022. Is this an issue of concern?
Well, Madhu, let me tell you a few things. That unemployment rate pre-COVID, what was it pre-COVID? Around 6-7%. Now it is 3.3% or 3.4%. So unemployment rate has come off. Naturally, the growing economy, we are creating a lot more opportunities, and EPFO numbers suggest informal economy 12 lakh jobs is being created every now and then. So, which also suggests that there is enough economic activity, there is enough opportunity for job creation, and job is being created. So, all these things are basically is not an issue which is being where the opposition is trying to create. And what Sanjay Jha was trying to tell or convey the people that we are worried lot. We are not even worried. You are overly concerned that how you will show the people of India that when you will not even get 30-40 seats. While we are confident of our victory, not only confident of our victory, but we are also confident of surpassing 400 plus seats for the NDA. Okay. 370 plus for BJP and 400 plus for NDA. So that confidence we draw from where? The people's receptiveness in our Honorable Prime Minister's speech, with people's receptiveness and confidence in the leadership of the Honorable Prime Minister, what we have been able to deliver, what we committed, what we have delivered in last 5 years, something for everyone to see. Okay. What we are committing, we will deliver. That's a guarantee from the Honorable Prime Minister. I mean, this lends a lot of comfort to the people. Okay. While these people are only trying to make allegation against Bharatiya Janata Party, against the government, against these people. Let me bring in Selim Dhanidharan on that. This will not fly with
Selim Dhanidharan, this is just a fake narrative that has been created. We all know what's going to happen. It's a foregone conclusion. The BJP is talking about 400 par. The India Alliance has barely gotten its act together. Please respond.
If the BJP is convinced that they're going to get 400 seats, then why do they come and participate in debates? They can all sit and sleep. They don't need to campaign. The CM, the Prime Minister need not be paranoid. Need not come and give interviews. Also, the interviews are made up, but still he comes and gives them, right? So BJP is clearly paranoid. Tell me why BJP shouldn't be paranoid? Because there is no growth to show. From 2004 to 2014, Indian GDP grew by about 4 times. From 2014 to 24, it grew only by two times. Even the per capita GDP of India increased from $600 in 2004 to $1,600. Under Modi, it has increased only up to $2,200. It's only 1.5 5 times increase. On the UPA, during UPA's regime, it was 2.5 times increase. Bangladesh, per capita GDP was $1,000 in 2014. Indian was $1,500. In 2021, Bangladesh overtook our per capita GDP. Modi came to power saying that I will send out Bangladeshis in Assam. Now the narrative is that we have to send out Indians who come to Bangladesh because there's no job in Assam ruled by BJP. According to CMIE, youth unemployment is 55%. India is in the bottom 5 countries for the highest percentage of youth unemployed. In 2011, India was hope for the youth with data, right? And again, under Modi, India went through stagflation. What is stagflation? No growth, but still high inflation. See, any growth will be accompanied by some inflation. But miraculous thing that happened during Modi's regime was that no growth plus high inflation. Because
they are accusing you of the exact same thing during the Manmohan Singh regime. Shekhar Iyer, you have the DMK spokesperson saying there's stagflation happening during the 10 years of Modi, and you have the BJP saying exactly the opposite. What are we to make of this?
Well, but that is not reflected in the top opposition leadership or among voters. You see, the problems are real. But which is the leadership that is going to solve these problems? Is it the leadership led by Rahul Gandhi, or is it the leadership led by the Prime Minister? See, the problems are real. The question is who has the ability, who has the capability, who has sincerely tried to solve these problems. The perception is very, very important. Simply repeating these problems, saying that these problems are there and things have failed. The voters don't think so. Otherwise, the BJP should not have won Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh or Rajasthan. See, the perception is that the present leadership, the Prime Minister, is making honest efforts to solve these problems. That perception is not there when you look at the opposition. There is not even a single leadership. All that you see in their manifesto is all, first aid or band-aid. There is no policy initiatives, indication of policy initiatives. There are no indications of solving problems on a long-term way. All that we are seeing is the dole approach.
Okay, interesting to look at that approach. Let's quickly move on to the other set of issues that we're talking about. The next set of issues. Gentlemen, please hold on to your thoughts. We have other panelists who have not even spoken, but I want to move on to the second set of issues that we're talking about. Nationalism. How important a role does this play? In northern India, 13%. In western India, 15%. In southern India, 17%, very interestingly. Eastern India at 12%. And northeast India at 18%. For men, 16% it's an issue. For women, 15% it's an issue. It's a major poll issue in this election. Hindutva. In northern India, Hindutva at 20%. In western India, 21%. More than northern India. Eastern India at 18%. Southern India 16%. And northeastern India 14%. Men at 21%. Women at 19%. And how about the polarizing issues? In northern India, 4%. In western India, 3%. Eastern India 5%, Southern India 4%, Northeastern India 3%, women 2%, men 3%. Interesting to see that polarization not so much an issue, but certainly Hindutva and nationalism continue to be significant issues in this entire election. Let me quickly take this across now to our other panelists who are with us. And in fact, let me take it across to the AIM spokesperson who is also with us on the panel. And in fact, Advocate Adil Hassan, what do you make of this? Hindutva continuing to be an important issue, nationalism continuing to be an important issue, polarization not so much, but together they are a very, very significant chunk of the responses that we've received to this survey.
Sir, my concern is that अगर नरेंद्र मोदी के पास सिर्फ ये झूठा नेशनलिज्म का जो चोला है, इसीलिए नरेंद्र मोदी की ये सरकार अभी तक टिकी हुई है। अगर आप मीडिया हाउस अगर इसको आशीर्वाद नहीं दे इस सरकार को, तो नरेंद्र मोदी की सरकार चंडीगढ़ में जिस तरीके से मेयर चुनाव में हारी है, पूरे भारत में चुनाव हारेगी। अगर इतनी ही इकोनॉमी अच्छी हुई है तो आप बतलाइए 80 करोड़ लोगों को आप क्यों 5 किलो अनाज दे रहे हैं? आप बतलाइए ना, कहां गया 2 करोड़ रोजगार? अब की बार महंगाई की मार, एक से एक बड़े बड़े इकोनॉमिक्स बैठे हुए हैं जो टीवी चैनल पे कोई बीजेपी के प्रवक्ता हैं, कोई कॉलमिस्ट बन जाते हैं, कोई इंटेलेक्चुअल बन जाते हैं। आप बतलाइए ना, एक चैनल पे 5-5 आदमी बीजेपी की वकालत कर रहा है। अगर आप इतना ही अच्छा काम किए हैं तो नरेंद्र मोदी चुनावी मोड से क्यों नहीं बाहर निकलते हैं? ऑफिस में बैठे देश का काम करें, बतलाएं कि मैंने जनता को क्या किया। इनका 2022 तक मकान देने का वादा झूठा, पानी देने का वादा झूठा, इनका पुअर इंडेक्स में इंडिया सबसे ज्यादा आगे, प्रेस फ्रीडम में सबसे आगे। मणिपुर जल रहा है, प्रधानमंत्री की हिम्मत नहीं है मणिपुर पे बोलने की। चाइना में घुसपैठ है, प्रधानमंत्री की हिम्मत नहीं है। सिर्फ मुस्लिम लीग, जिन्ना, मंदिर, मस्जिद, मुसलमान, हिंदू, टोपी, दाढ़ी के अलावा प्रधानमंत्री के पास कोई ऐसा चीज नहीं है। इनका परिवारवाद नहीं है, दूसरे का परिवारवाद है। प्रधानमंत्री बतलाएं कि चुनावी बोर्ड से कब निकलते हैं। देश की जनता जान गई है 200 सीट ये पार नहीं करेगी, और अगर मीडिया का आशीर्वाद नहीं रहा तो 150 सीट भी पार नहीं करेगी। ये सिर्फ आपका आशीर्वाद है। आपके जो रिपोर्टर, आपके जो जर्नलिस्ट मीठी बात आम क्यों खाते हैं, आम
सर
क्यों
कौन सी
बेचते
मीठी
हैं,
बात की है इस ब्रॉडकास्ट में, बता दीजिए। मैं तो कह रहा हूँ अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट और इन्फ्लेशन सबसे बड़े मुद्दे हैं, अभी हमारे सर्वे ने कहा है, और आप कह रहे हैं कि हम मेहरबान हो रहे हैं। थोड़ा इररिस्पॉन्सिबल भी मत होइए आदिल हुसैन साहब, थोड़ा सा अपने भावनाओं को कंट्रोल करिए नेशनल टेलीविजन पे, और जो सर्वे को अभी हमने दिखाया है उसको ठंडे दिमाग से जरा सोचिए हमने बोला क्या है। Let me bring in Karan Verma, your response. I'm coming to you, Syed Zafar Islam. I want to just bring in Karan Verma very quickly. Your response to Advocate Adil Hassan.
नहीं, आदिल हसन इस सही कुछ काम ही नहीं हुआ है। 4 करोड़ घर मिल गए, आदिल हसन को नहीं दिखा। 4 करोड़ घर मिल गए पिछले 10 साल में, इनको नहीं दिखा। 10 करोड़ गैस कनेक्शंस मिल गए, इनको नहीं दिखा। 12 करोड़ टैप वाटर कनेक्शंस दिख गए, इनको नहीं दिखा। नॉर्थ ईस्ट में 60% रेड कॉरिडोर ऑब्लिटरेट हो गया, इनको नहीं दिखा। पत्थरबाजी खत्म हो गई कश्मीर में, इनको नहीं दिखा। 25 करोड़ लोगों को आयुष्मान का कार्ड मिल गया, लोगों को इलाज। अब आप इनको चुप कराइए प्लीज। माधव,
एडवोकेट आदिल हसन जी, किसी ने आपको इंटरप्ट नहीं किया अभी तक, डिबेट में किसी पैनलिस्ट ने किसी और को इंटरप्ट नहीं किया। आपने जो सवाल उठाया उनका जवाब सुनने का हिम्मत रख लीजिए। करण वर्मा,
क्या तरीका है? इनको डर लगता है ना सच से, इनको सच से डर लगता है। 30 crore people, in fact 40 crore have got mudra loans. Madhav, what have they got mudra loans for? And let's do a basic test of employment. For 45,000 square kilometers of highways have been laid down. Airports have been doubled. Banks, branches, everything has increased manifold. Who has done all this work? It's the men and women of this country who've done this work. What does the periodic labor force survey say? 3.1% unemployment, lowest in 6 years. What does the inflation data say? Less than 5%. It used to be double digit during Congress's regime. For 22 months it was double digit. So what are we talking? आपके नहीं समझ में आया होगा, आदिल हसन, जनता के समझ में आ रहा है, तभी बार बार इनको मैंडेट देती है जनता. Don't question the intelligence of the people. People today feel the benefits in their pockets, whether it is gas connections, whether it is water, whether it is healthcare costs coming down. So if you don't know, don't put it on the people. That is why today you don't have the mandate of the people, because you don't understand that what matters at the ground is deliverables. आप अगर डिलीवर करेंगे, लोग आपको वोट देंगे. आपकी चिकनी चुपड़ी बातों पे नहीं वोट देंगे. Don't shoot the messenger, look within first.
Okay, Adil Hassan, respond now.
My concern is that I request all the media channel of the country, जो बीजेपी के प्रवक्ता है, उसके अलावा आप बोलिए कि 4 प्रवक्ता को मैं रखा हूं. क्यों आप ये चोला उड़ा के बैठाते हैं? मैं इंटेलेक्चुअल, तो पैनलिस्ट, तो इकोनॉमिक एडवाइजर, इंटेलेक्चुअल, इनका हर कुछ बीजेपी से मिला हुआ है. आप क्यों बोलिए ना साफ कि हाँ बीजेपी के.
आदिल हसन जी, आपको प्रॉब्लम क्या समझ नहीं आ रहा? 4 ऑपोजिशन के मेंबर्स हैं इस पैनल पे और 3 लोग हैं, एक बीजेपी प्रवक्ता है, एक इंडिपेंडेंट जर्नलिस्ट और इंडिपेंडेंट वॉइसेस है. प्रो बीजेपी वॉइसेस लेस है इस पैनल पे, तब भी आपको दिक्कत है. आई एम सॉरी बट यू आर नॉट मेकिंग एनी सेंस टुडे, Adil Hassan. I'm going to lower your fader and please speak on the subject that you are being asked on. Let's not derail the entire debate. I want to bring in Ghanshyam Tiwari on the point. Ghanshyam, Karan Verma says that what development has happened, governance has happened, is being ignored by the opposition at their own peril. Please respond to him.
Madhav, your surveyors did not survey opposition. The surveyors surveyed the people. And it is clear, even in this debate, it is clear that BJP and its ecosystem believes that unemployment is not a problem. There are 3 things that frustrate the people of India today. One is that this continuous blindness of BJP, that unemployment and price rise, the real issues of the people, is not a problem. Second is the complete disregard on these issues and the Prime Minister addressing fake issues that are not a problem for voters of India, but it is important for Prime Minister because he wants to twist the narrative. Unfortunately for him, it is not happening. And third is the tall promises that BJP and the Prime Minister himself have made in the past about 2 crore job, 15 lakh account में किसान की आय डबल करना या MSP देना. All these tall promises are boomeranging on BJP. And finally, in the face of this, except Prime Minister, there is nobody else. Do we know, is there any other star pracharak in BJP? No. But across opposition, if you see, in Tamil Nadu, there is a different set of leaders that people want to listen to. In Uttar Pradesh, there is a different set of leaders that people want to listen to. Suddenly, BJP is a very lonely house. They have drowned the political leadership in their own party. They have drowned the political leadership across their allies. And they are faced with a Prime Minister who will not address issues that matter to the people.
Okay, let me bring in Syed Zafar Islam on that. Syed Zafar Islam, the issues of governance are very real. Of course, we've addressed unemployment and inflation, but what is significant is that nationalism, as well as other issues, that we are talking about, Hindutva, for instance, are also significant concerns for the population of India. And interesting to see how it's spread across, because while these are significant issues, inflation and unemployment in northern India, for instance, nationalism and Hindutva also continue to be very significant issues.
Well, Madhav, a party like Bharatiya Janata Party, whose priority is nation first. We follow a policy, nation first policy. So there has to be, in people's eyes, the focus on the people's eyes that they want to prioritize a party which has nation is first policy, while rest of the things will follow after the nation. So a party which is seen as a nationalist party is only the Bharatiya Janata Party, while all the other parties, they have their priority is something else. Their priority is the family, their priority is, like for instance, Congress Party. Sonia Gandhi's only priority is her son. While the rest of the leaders are not relevant for Sonia Gandhi, because she only prioritizes her family, and that is the differentiating factor between us and them.
Yeah.
For us, nation comes first.
Okay.
Whatever policy
I want to
form,
yeah,
there should be only two priorities: one, nation, and then people.
Okay.
And for them, it is family, and family.
But let me bring in Sanjay Jha on a very important point. Sanjay Jha, going by what this survey has actually brought out, if you look at the kind of responses to issues such as Hindutva, to nationalism, etc., so on and so forth, somewhere or the other, the Ram Leher, which the opposition was pretty much in denial about, appears to have played a role over here. Would you agree?
Madhav, let me tell you, the BJP actually believed that the election was done and dusted on January 22nd at the time of the Pran Pratishtha. Now, they have got a rude shock that this is a beautiful, diverse country. We all love our gods. We all respect our religion. We actually love each other's religion. Have you seen the way people celebrate, whether it's an Eid Mubarak moment or a Navratri or a Ram Navami, we are all together. The BJP's attempt to try and divide and rule India, inspired by the British, is boomeranged on Mr. Modi and his party. Let me tell you, Madhav, this election is between the BJP and the people of India. And when I say India, I'm not meaning India Alliance alone. Everybody who believes in the true strength of India's constitution, a secular, tolerant, liberal, secular, and a most important and inclusive country. I'll give you one example. My dear friend Karan said, unemployment to kuch hai hi nahi. Can I tell him, look at that picture in Uttar Pradesh, where 48 lakh students, young people had to apply for jobs for railway constables, and they included MBAs and PhDs and engineers, and that exam had a leak and it got cancelled. I mean, you have destroyed the demographic dividend of India. You have destroyed the dreams of a young India.
Okay.
And you cannot ignore that by trying to spin religion in everything. It's boomeranging left, right, and center. Yeah. And in this election,
is it boomeranging? Karan, is it boomeranging? Is it boomeranging? Would you like to respond to Sanjay Jha?
Look, if you ask me also, is unemployment, is inflation an issue? There'll always be issues because people can never be complacent. Neither can governments ever be complacent about it. We have to give more employment, and India is going through a transition, Sanjay. Our obsession with government jobs has to come down. Prime Minister talked about a vision for self-help groups. He talked about Lakpati Didis. He's talked about semiconductor plants coming up in Gujarat, manufacturing making giant strides. Ayushman, I'm talking about Mudra loans, where people are self-employed. So we are in that transition phase. Mr. Modi has a vision for that. You don't have a vision for that. Congress parties fail to give anything. They are talking about giving 1 lakh to every woman, every poor woman. How many poor women are there? You don't even know that. You have nothing going as far as fiscal sustainability is concerned. Mr. Modi has given us a roadmap. We'll of course hold him to that. But we expect only him to deliver, not you for sure. And yes, Of course, there can be giant strides which can work for the improvement in employment and inflation. But right now, the situation is not that bad. Given a pandemic and a global catastrophe in the form of Russia, Ukraine, we have held our fort much better than most of the European countries.
Selam Dhanidharan, question for you and the DMK is this, that, with Hindutva still playing a very major role in this election as an issue, have you somehow helped the BJP with the repeated comments on Sanatan Dharma, etc. And that's a charge that, has been made in the last assembly elections as well, and perhaps is working in the favor of the BJP in this Lok Sabha poll as well. Perhaps not in Tamil Nadu itself, but definitely in northern India, a lot of talk around that. Selam Dhanidharan.
If I may, then I could also like to rebut the previous spokesperson and then answer your question. So the first and foremost, in 2019 itself, right? The consumer index survey said the real wages in India have stagnated and real wages in rural part of India have declined. When the report came out, what did this union government do? They made sure that the survey never comes out again. So the results never came. And also, just before COVID, 3-4 surveys said the two-wheeler sales, car sales, even Parle-G biscuit sales in India have reduced in the last 30 years. I mean, more than in the last 30 years. Right? For the first time in 30 years, the sales have reduced, is what they said. Because demand was reducing this country, because people do not have purchasing power. This was primarily due to increase in price of essentials like fuel, gas cylinder, etc. Now coming back to your question, DMK is a party that embraces all religion, but just that we keep spirituality away from politics. BJP is a party that is directly detrimental to Hinduism because they slaughter people in Uttar Pradesh because on suspicion that they're eating beef, and the same BJP chief minister in Goa will participate in Beef Fest. Same BJP party, Alana Group, received electoral bonds funding from the largest beef exporter in India. Right? So BJP is a hypocritic party. In Gujarat, VHP put a case against the BJP government for giving temple lands. To whom? To real estate developers. In Tamil Nadu, we have reclaimed temple lands after DMK came to power. DMK was the first party to give pension to the priests, and that pension was increased under our lead, by our leader when he came to power in 21. And again, DMK government is the only government in 21 to ensure that people of all castes can become priests. So we want equality, and equality within every religion. Right? And the Honorable Sports Minister, Udayanidhi Stalin, who made the comment, also very well clarified that we are speaking only for equality. We are not against any religion. Is that
the case? A lot of questions for the BJP, but I want Shekhar Iyer to respond to that. Shekhar Iyer, is that indeed the case? And does what Selam Dhanidharan said just now, does it all really add up?
No, but the DMK used Sanatan Dharma because they were facing severe criticism of corruption. Most of the ministries are under scanner. And corruption is such a high premium in Tamil Nadu. Udayanidhi Stalin thought that only by raising the Sanatan Dharma there could be a diversion. It was done for the purpose of diversion. And today, you see, the DMK has been in power in 2021. And they are going to face Lok Sabha elections. Every party, including their alliance partners, are saying there are severe anti-incumbency issues. And number one issue in Tamil Nadu today is corruption. And that corruption is being felt at all levels. People are paying 10 rupees more for a pouch of liquor. I mean, you can imagine the corruption as, they have not spared even liquor from corruption. And corruption is such a serious issue. And everybody knows now the drug scandal has come out involving top party leaders. There are several scandals there. And then, and they talk about electoral bonds, and they also took electoral bonds. I mean, what they took was not part of corruption. I mean, this double-standard talk, and I was surprised Rahul Gandhi and Stalin talking about corruption on a joint plank. I mean, what is this? There is some kind of, you can say anything. As if they are all born in, total purity. Everybody knows, I tell you, the DMK model of winning election, everybody knows. They don't bother about people's issues. They feel that if you can please voters the night before, the things can be done. This has been happening.
All right. Let's move on to the third and final set of data that we're talking about. This is issues relating to corruption and development. And this is, in fact, what is being told to us by the survey. Northern India, 4% of people feel corruption is an issue. Western India, 7%. Eastern India, 5%. Southern India, 8%. Northeast India, 8%. Between men and women, for 8% men, it's an issue. For 6% of women, it's an issue. So perhaps the issue that matters the least in that sense, if one is to go by these numbers, Development, on the other hand, has a much higher resonance amongst the people of India. In northern India, it's at 12%, western India at 14%, eastern India 21%, southern India 22%, and northeastern India at 20%. So these three regions, at least, it's going to play a very important role. For men, 19%. For women, 18%. Very, very interesting to see how all of this is really playing out. And in fact, let me put that question across to Ghanshyam Tiwari. Ghanshyam Tiwari, if issues such as corruption at the end of the day are not going to have that kind of resonance, or the crackdown on corruption, or so on and so forth, but issues of development are really at play, is that something that the BJP will be able to score on? Because they talk about how their development track record, from building, Swachh Bharat to highways to infrastructure spending, all of that is something that the government at the centre has spoken about extensively. Ghanshyam.
They have oversold the story, Madhav. The reality is biting the people in terms of the inflation and unemployment. They have beneficiaries and they are banking on it. But the corruption issue, it can, in the survey, it may seem that 4%, 5%, 7% people are impacted by it. But the real impact of corruption issue, this electoral bond, which the Prime Minister defended in the I.N.D.I.A survey. In last 10 years, BJP received 13,000 crores in donation. 13,000 crores. That's not a small number. With this electoral bond issue, the Prime Minister's credibility is dented. He is seen as a kingpin of this issue. He's still batting for it. And with every day this election takes shape, the Prime Minister's credibility will be called into question, and that is where BJP is going to lose even more. As I said, that they don't have anybody else to depend on. There is no star pracharak.
Okay.
There is no other second-line leader whose point of view matters, and a Prime Minister whose image is dented by electoral bond and who's not addressing the real issues of people will lead BJP to a defeat as the election unfolds.
Syed Zafar Azam, respond to that. As far as electoral bonds is concerned, if corruption is an issue, then certainly electoral bonds is an issue which the opposition is not letting you off the mat on.
Yeah. Out of 100%, only 37% has come to BJP through electoral bonds, while the 63% has gone to the opposition parties. Also, they were happy accepting cash because there was no transparency. What we brought through electoral bond is transparency. Today you have the details of who was the beneficiary of those electoral bonds, and we can say in terms of percentage that BJP got 37%, while the rest got opposition parties 63%, huge number. They can accept cash comfortably, and this is what evident from the fact that the Sahu, one of the member of parliament of Congress party from Jharkhand, had 550 crores of cash. Through unfair practices, he had amassed this kind of wealth. But this is perfectly fine with the Congress party and the opposition parties. Even the observation of the Honorable High Court, when they approached, they went to appeal to High Court for their to get some relief for the IT-related issues, the Congress party. But what the observation of the High Court, Honorable High Court, was that they have not disclosed the income between 2017-18 financial assessment year till 2021. So during those years, they have not actually shown the real income, or they use the Section 13A, whatever has to be declared under Section 13A, that has not been done.
Okay.
Even Honorable High Court observed at least 700 crore that has been hidden from, they were trying to hide from the people's eye because I am from the income tax. So these are the corruption, they are comfortable. But electoral bonds, where all the details are now being furnished for the people of this great country, that is something which they are not acceptable. This is why the Honorable Prime Minister has very candidly said, people will regret.
Okay.
Because it's
Sanjay, people will regret not having implemented the electoral bonds. Would you like to respond? Because I saw you raising your hand when he was making some points. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, there is a gentleman called Sarath Reddy who has become more popular than Shah Rukh Khan as a household name in India, because people have discovered that Sarath Reddy of the Aurobindo Pharma was considered by this government to be the kingpin of the Delhi liquor scam. And this gentleman suddenly fell sick. He becomes an approver. The ED gives him a bail, approves the bail, doesn't object to it. Next, he is actually accusing Arvind Kejriwal and gives 55 crores to the BJP in electoral bonds. I mean, this is a manifestation that the people will not forget of criminality, the destruction of institutions, the clear corruption and crony capitalism. And I think Sarath Reddy today is an example in India of what is wrong with the BJP. And the second point that I wish to make is this, that when you have a situation where a Bilkis Banu, a woman who has been gang raped in the 2002 riots, when her rapists are released on India's Independence Day 75th celebration, it tells you of the mindset of this government. I think women, young people, farmers who are still protesting, you have the situation of the poor who have only become worse off. Who has gained during the time of Mr. Modi's reign?
Well,
Nobody
the point
has an answer to that question.
Well, two fact checks that I quickly need to do on the show. In fact, it is 6566.12 crore out of 8950.37 crore. About 70% of the money received from electoral bonds went to the BJP. But Syed Zafar Islam, I think the point you were making from yesterday's interview with the Prime Minister is that of the 16 companies being investigated out of 3,000 which have donated electoral bonds, 37% of their money actually went to the BJP and an overwhelming majority went to the opposition. I just want to clarify that fact on air right now. And at the end of the day, Sanjay Jha, if I can just ask you this. The Prime Minister says this, and he said it in yesterday's interview, that just 16 companies are those that are being investigated. So does that charge really stick at the end of the day when you talk about 16 out of 3,000 companies?
I'll tell you why it does. Because if you look at the number of cases and the number of individuals, I'm not going to take their names because they're probably going to be investigated sooner rather than later. There is a clear case that people have been bailed out when they have given money to the BJP. They have been bailed out. Or in many of the cases, they've got a contract. But
well, if corruption is an issue or isn't an issue, which party will it benefit more? Certainly, the jury is still out on that. I'd like to thank all our panelists for joining us on our survey results this evening. All eyes set on which way India votes and what really will be on the minds of the voters when the first phase of voting takes place at the end of the week on the 19th. Thanks so much for joining us.